Scorpio. Something shifts around March 5th, 6th, and you can already feel it in the quiet spaces between your thoughts. The moon moves through Gemini, stirring the air around conversations, messages, half-formed sentences waiting on the tip of your tongue. Words carry weight now. Even the ones left unsent seem to hum with meaning. At the same time, the sun drifts through Pisces, and Saturn stands there too, steady and watchful. The water runs deep this season, Scorpio. Intuition rises like a tide beneath your ribs, subtle but insistent, brushing against the sharp edges of your logic. Your mind wants clarity. Your spirit wants truth. March 5th and 6th hold a particular tension, not loud, not explosive, but precise. Gemini brings information. Pisces brings feeling. Somewhere between a thought and a memory, between a message and a realization, something aligns. You recognize it in an instant, even if your voice takes a breath before catching up. Scorpio, you live comfortably in depth, yet this energy asks for something slightly different. It asks for articulation. It asks for a sentence that names what you have sensed for weeks, maybe months. The moon in Gemini opens the door to dialogue, and suddenly the silence you've held feels ready to shift into language. There's a moment when awareness clicks into place, a text arrives, a look lingers, a conversation unfolds in a way that feels almost scripted. Your mind begins connecting threads with unusual speed. At the same time, Pisces season keeps everything soft around the edges, so the realization lands in your chest before it fully forms in your head. You feel it, then you understand it. Saturn's presence in Pisces adds gravity to the atmosphere. The emotions that surface carry maturity, a sense of timing that feels intentional. Scorpio, this is a threshold built from awareness rather than drama. The truth that approaches carries a quiet authority, and you sense that once it's spoken or acknowledged, the energy around you will rearrange. You might notice how your thoughts circle a specific person, a decision, a future direction. Gemini's influence brings restlessness, a desire to clarify, to ask the question that's been forming in your throat. Pisces deepens the emotional undercurrent, so the question feels sacred, almost tender. This combination creates a rare alignment, head and heart, moving toward the same point. Scorpio, this is why you're here before Friday. The days ahead hold a conversation or an insight that deserves your full presence. When your mind and intuition align, you recognize the shift immediately. If your mind and intuition are aligning right now, anchor it below 777, I see clearly. And as this awareness begins to sharpen, let's step into what this truth actually touches. March 5th and 6th carry a particular texture. Scorpio, light in the air, movement in the mind. The moon glides through Gemini, and suddenly thoughts travel faster than usual. Conversations hover at the edge of your day, waiting for you to lean in. A message, a sentence, a single word lands differently now, as if it arrives highlighted. Gemini stirs communication, and you feel it in subtle ways. You reread a text and catch a tone you missed before. You begin drafting a response in your head before the other person finishes speaking. Scorpio, your mind feels alert, almost electrically aware, pulling threads together with quiet precision. At the same time, the sun continues its journey through Pisces, and the emotional current beneath your thoughts grows stronger. Pisces heightens intuition, softens the edges of logic, and brings dreams into sharper focus. You wake with fragments lingering, a face, a phrase, a scene that feels symbolic. The insight forms gently, like mist lifting off water. This is where it happens. Scorpio, where air meets water. Gemini shapes language. Pisces deepens feeling. A realization rises when a thought finally matches what your heart has sensed all along. You feel it first in your chest, then in your mind, and then the two align in a quiet click. You may find yourself wanting clarity more than comfort. There's a natural urge to ask the question directly, to hear the truth in someone's voice, to let the words exist out loud instead of circling silently. The moon in Gemini supports articulation, and your voice carries more steadiness than you expected. The exchange becomes a mirror. For Scorpio, depth usually unfolds in silence. Yet during these days, the truth seeks expression. It shows up in a spontaneous conversation, in a message sent at the right hour, in a sudden mental connection that rearranges everything. Awareness sharpens, and with that sharpness comes a strange calm. Pisces keeps the emotional layer tender, almost luminous. Even a practical conversation holds an undercurrent of meaning. You sense subtext, you sense timing. The mind organizes what the soul already knew, and something inside you exhales in recognition. This revealing does not arrive with thunder. It unfolds through dialogue, through insight, through the quiet courage of naming what you feel. Scorpio, when intuition flows into language, clarity becomes tangible. The shift begins in thought, and it settles into your body with a steady warmth. And as this clarity settles in, as the words begin to form and the emotional tide steadies, another layer starts to surface. One that carries weight, maturity, and a deeper reckoning waiting just beneath the surface. There is a shift in tone now, Scorpio. The quicksilver clarity of Gemini begins to meet something steadier, something with weight. Saturn stands in Pisces, and its presence feels like a hand resting gently on your shoulder, grounding, steady, asking for honesty at a deeper level. The air still moves with thoughts and words, yet beneath it, the water grows serious. When the moon in Gemini forms that subtle tension with Saturn, you feel it as a pause. A sentence hangs in the space between you and someone else. A realization that felt light a moment ago settles into your body with gravity. Scorpio, this is the reality check that doesn't wound, it clarifies. Saturn in Pisces speaks in the language of emotional boundaries. It asks where your energy flows, where it lingers, where it drains. Under this influence, you begin to sense what aligns with your future and what belongs to a version of you that has already evolved. The awareness feels mature, almost quiet in its authority. Scorpio, you are fluent in depth, yet this energy invites a different kind of strength. It invites discernment. Gemini brought the words. Pisces brought the feeling. Saturn now brings structure, guiding you to hold both logic and intuition in the same steady gaze. You might notice a shift in how you respond. The impulse to react softens into thoughtful consideration. You listen to yourself more carefully, weighing each emotion against your long-term direction. The mood becomes serious in a way that feels empowering rather than heavy. This shedding happens internally first. It lives in the moment you recognize that a certain pattern no longer reflects who you are becoming. It lives in the clarity that forms when you acknowledge your own limits, your own desires, your own standards. Scorpio, this is emotional maturity moving through you like a tide. Saturn's influence does not rush. It shapes. It refines. It encourages you to take responsibility for your feelings without carrying what belongs to someone else. The realization carries a calm certainty, a sense that the future requires a cleaner emotional field. In this space, power feels different. It feels measured. It feels grounded in self-respect rather than intensity. Scorpio, you sense that sustainable transformation grows from clarity, from boundaries, from choosing what supports your evolution. If you feel ready to speak with clarity and strength, claim it below. 888 I speak my truth. And as this grounded awareness settles into your chest, as your emotions organize themselves around what feels aligned, another layer begins to stir, one that asks what you will do with this clarity before Friday arrives. Time feels different now, Scorpio. The moon moves quickly through Gemini, and you can sense how these 2 days carry a concentrated pulse. Thoughts sharpen, conversations reach their peak, and what felt like reflection begins to lean toward action. The air hums with momentum. Gemini energy never lingers too long. It gathers insight, circulates ideas, brings matters to the surface, and then it moves on. Before Friday arrives, there's a subtle pressure to respond, to choose, to articulate where you stand. Scorpio, this is where awareness turns into direction. You feel calmer than expected. The emotional tide from Pisces still flows underneath, yet your mind stands clear and steady. Saturn has already helped you sort through what feels aligned, and now Mars, your traditional ruler, stirs a quiet resolve within you. This is not impulsive energy. It is intentional. Mars, in your archetype, represents movement with purpose. It carries strength without noise. As Friday approaches, Scorpio, you sense that a decision is forming naturally, shaped by everything you have realized over the past few days. The conversation, the insight, the emotional maturity, all of it converges into one simple question: what feels right to act on? There may be a message waiting for your reply. There may be a boundary ready to be spoken clearly. There may be a direction calling for commitment. The clarity gained under the Gemini moon now seeks expression in the real world. Your body feels steady, your breath even, your focus sharp. Scorpio, you often move from instinct, yet here you are moving from integration. Logic and intuition stand side by side, supporting the same choice. The urgency feels clean rather than chaotic. The decision carries weight, yet it also carries relief. Before Friday, there is a window, brief, potent, aligned with the rhythm of the moon's transit. This window is part of a natural monthly cycle, a time when thoughts crystallize and energy aligns behind a clear intention. You recognize the opportunity in a subtle way, as if the path in front of you has quietly come into focus. You sense your own authority returning. The choice you make now feels grounded in self-trust. Scorpio, this is where depth meets action, where insight becomes movement. The step forward may be small, yet it carries significance in how it reshapes your internal landscape. And as this decision settles into place, as your energy begins to reorganize around what you have chosen, another layer begins to surface. One connected to exchange, to shared resources, to the deeper currents of value and power that flow beneath your external life. Scorpio, this is where the conversation moves beneath the surface of emotion and into the realm of exchange. Your sign holds a natural connection to the 8th house, shared, finances, investments, debts, the subtle contracts formed through trust and vulnerability. These themes carry weight for you because they touch power, intimacy, and value all at once. When something shifts internally, it often echoes here. With the moon in Gemini, dialogue around money or resources can surface with surprising ease. A practical discussion unfolds. Numbers get mentioned, plans get outlined. The tone feels lighter than usual, yet the implications carry depth. Gemini brings clarity through words, and suddenly a financial topic that once felt complex begins to untangle through conversation. You articulate what you need. You ask the question directly. Scorpio, your voice carries calm authority when it comes to shared resources now. Saturn in Pisces adds seriousness to long-term plans. It invites structure where emotion once dominated the narrative. This energy supports maturity around boundaries, who contributes what, how responsibility is divided, where commitment aligns with reality. You sense a future taking shape through practical awareness. There may be a shift in how you view giving and receiving. The 8th house is about energetic exchange, and Scorpio feels deeply when that exchange feels balanced. As communication clears under Gemini's influence, you begin to recognize the flow, where it feels reciprocal, where it feels sustainable. The insight brings steadiness. Financial clarity often mirrors emotional clarity. When you understand your worth internally, it reflects in how you negotiate externally. Saturn supports disciplined planning, measured investments, thoughtful decisions about shared assets. The atmosphere feels grounded, even empowering. Scorpio, this moment carries a quiet recalibration. You look at agreements, partnerships, shared accounts, or even unspoken expectations with new awareness. Conversations around money feel more direct. The energy shifts from intensity to intention. You sense confidence building as you define your terms. Clear communication creates alignment. Responsibility feels shared rather than assumed. There is a calm satisfaction in knowing exactly where you stand. This reset moves gently yet firmly. It aligns your resources with your evolving identity. It invites a cleaner, energetic field between you and others. And as this balance settles into place, as your financial and energetic exchanges begin to reflect your inner clarity, a softer question rises. How you choose to anchor this alignment in the quiet space between one day and the next. Scorpio, this moment asks for something simple and intentional. No grand ceremony, no dramatic declaration, just you, your awareness, and the quiet space between thoughts. The moon in Gemini activates the mind, and by evening on March 5th, your thoughts feel organized, almost eager to be expressed. This is a time for clarity to take form on paper. Sit somewhere still. Let the air settle around you. Write down what you want to say, the message you've been shaping internally, the boundary that now feels ready, the truth that formed over the past few days. Gemini energy supports articulation, and when you see your own words in ink, they carry a new kind of steadiness. Scorpio, this writing does not need to be shared. It exists to anchor your awareness. The act itself aligns mind and intention. Thoughts stop circling and begin to settle into structure. Pisces season adds another layer to this alignment. After you write, allow yourself a few quiet minutes with your eyes closed. Breathe slowly. Let images drift up from the deeper waters of your subconscious. If a dream lingers from the night before, record it gently, even if it feels fragmented. There is wisdom in symbols, and Scorpio understands symbolism instinctively. Pisces energy heightens sensitivity to subtle cues, colors, emotions, fleeting impressions. Writing these down creates a bridge between intuition and language. The inner world feels acknowledged. Saturn in Pisces supports grounding this awareness into something tangible. After reflection, choose one concrete step, one realistic action that honors what you now understand. A phone call, a conversation, a financial adjustment, a commitment to yourself. Scorpio, Saturn favors maturity and structure. When you translate insight into a practical goal, energy begins to move with direction. The feeling is steady, deliberate, empowered. Intention becomes the guiding force. On the morning of March 6th, before the day pulls you outward, return briefly to your words. Read them slowly. Notice how they feel in your body. Your breath may deepen. Your spine may straighten slightly. This ritual is less about astrology and more about alignment. The moon offered clarity. Pisces offered emotional depth. Saturn offered responsibility. You gather all three and hold them together in your own hands. Scorpio, there is strength in this quiet preparation. You sense readiness building inside you, not as urgency, but as grounded resolve. Head and heart feel synchronized. The future begins to take shape through deliberate awareness. As the day unfolds and the week moves forward, you carry this internal alignment with you. The clarity you wrote, the dream you honored, the step you defined, all of it forms a steady foundation beneath your choices. And from this place of balance, something deeper begins to integrate within you, quietly preparing you for the final unfolding. Scorpio, the past few days have felt subtle yet profound, like a tide shifting beneath the surface of your awareness. The moon in Gemini brought light into your thoughts, helping words rise where silence once lingered. Pisces season kept your heart open, soft, receptive to what moved underneath logic. And Saturn, steady in Pisces, invited you into maturity, the kind that feels grounded rather than heavy. March 5th and 6th offered a moment of realization, a quiet alignment between mind and intuition. You sensed the truth forming before it was spoken, and when it arrived, it carried clarity instead of chaos. Scorpio, you met that clarity with presence. By the time Friday approaches, the insight has already begun shaping your actions in small, deliberate ways. There is something powerful about the way you move now. Your thoughts feel organized, your emotions feel acknowledged, the space between them feels balanced. Scorpio, when your head and your heart aim toward the same point, your energy becomes focused, steady, and unmistakably strong. This integration feels calm. It carries the confidence of someone who has looked inward and found alignment there. You understand what resonates with your future, and you feel prepared to step forward without rushing. The transformation unfolds through awareness, through clarity, through conscious choice. Scorpio, growth lives in these moments, the ones that arrive quietly and settle deeply. You sense that something has shifted within you, even if the outer world still looks familiar. The shift lives in how you think, how you feel, how you choose. As the week continues, imagine yourself standing at the edge of still water just before sunrise. The surface reflects both sky and depth, air and ocean meeting in one seamless line. You stand there, grounded, aware, ready, and the reflection looking back at you feels integrated, whole. If this clarity feels real to you, seal it below. I choose clarity. And Scorpio, if this message resonated with where you are right now, you're welcome to stay connected here. Each like, each share, each subscription becomes part of this quiet circle of reflection and growth we're building together. Your presence adds depth to this space, and walking this path side by side brings its own kind of strength.